Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I have some A6M5 gameplay for you, but before we get into that, I do want to ask your guys' opinion, because as you will have seen, this video has a relatively different thumbnail, and I've been thinking for a while about changing up the art style on the channel, and I would like to hear your guys' opinion on it. Now, for the actual gameplay. One thing that I can say straight out of the bag is that this plane is really nice, but really, really mediocre as well at the same time. It can be extremely fun to fly, and it can be absolutely frustrating, because one, you're almost always slower than your enemy. Second, your guns are really not very good. And in my opinion, you are also almost all the time in a very defensive position, because the fact that it is zero means that you can basically not aggressively attack enemies in, for example, diving after them or something like that. It's not necessarily to say that the A6M5 can't dive fast, because it is probably the best diving zero, but you will still, in a prolonged dive, never catch an American plane, ever. Unless it is doing something really, really weird. Now, with all my explanation and opinions out of the way, let's actually go into the actual game. So, you already saw me get a very nice kill on a P-47 earlier. To be honest, all he should have done to get away from me was just dive, because that is another thing. You really don't want to be wasting shots on long range with this plane, because it's not really that good at it either. Now, this guy does hit me a little bit, and this is where the A6M5 is so nice. You can very quickly turn the tables on your enemy. Now, it was still a very short window of opportunity, but I managed to get some hits in, and he got set on fire. Now, in any other situation where your enemy has a little less energy and a little less speed, you can very quickly turn a fight around like that, and that is definitely one of the very nice things about the Zero. But that is really kind of where it ends for me personally, because after that, yeah, it's good at turning, but for someone to actually turn with a Zero, they have to either really know what they're doing, or they have to be extremely low on speed and altitude, and basically they have no other option. Now, this game looked like a very nice game for me to play, but as you can see, I got relatively unlucky. Now, with the first game out of the way, let's jump right into the second one. This is on the same map, but about 3 to 4 matches later. Now, the Spitfire is above me, and that poses a problem, and I make a relatively big mistake here. I lose control. My Japanese crew is not very good, and at relatively high speed, the Zero can pull some very impressive Gs, but your pilot won't like it that very much. But I have managed to get on the 6 of the Spitfire. I turn into him, get some nice shots on, and manage to take him out in a very quick burst. Which is nice, because the overall ammunition that you get in this plane, in my opinion, is relatively little, because you have 2 cannons, both with 100 rounds. You burn through them really quite quickly. So I will put a jump cut right here, because the next action only happens about 5 minutes away from this, and that's a relatively long time to just look at someone flying around. So a little while later, and some friendlies and enemies down, I decide to dive on a Hellcat, because he is by far the closest enemy to me. And this is where, as I said, the Zero, if hit once, it can dive really, really fast. But you also have to really watch out that you don't overspeed. That's why I shot my guns there, just to try and slow myself down a little bit. In the end, it wasn't really necessary, because I wasn't even redlining, but still better safe than sorry. And now we are right on the ass of this Hellcat. Now, he's going straight for 2 of my friendlies. I pepper him just to try and discourage him from going head-on, but he does not seem to really care about me being right behind him. He doesn't actually get anyone in the head-on, so that is nice for our team. He turns and makes it a very, very easy shot. Now, there's 2 enemies right in front of us, and there's an enemy right behind us, although he is very far away. And we also have 3 friendlies flying with us towards the 2 enemies to try and help out the allies over on that side of the map. Now I decide to go up, climb relatively aggressively. That is something that you can definitely do in the Zero, is you just put the plane into a very extreme climb and it will climb really well for a couple of seconds. Obviously you then have to level off to not stall, but it is definitely something that you can pull off and actually gain quite a bit of altitude with. Now I was kind of debating whether to go back or not to go back, and there's a Spitfire right behind us, and well, I know that I will never catch this Typhoon in a straight line, so I decide to go ahead and turn around to engage the other enemy coming from right behind us. Now fighting the enemy over this airfield won't be that difficult because there is a lot of friendlies around that are, well, either landed or just taking off or trying to land. So people most likely will go for them and therefore won't be very focused on trying to evade someone that comes in for them. Now I am a little bit confused in which enemy I should go for, either the Spitfire or the Typhoon. However, one of our friendlies decides that for us basically by taking out the Spitfire that was going for him, therefore leaving only the Typhoon. He goes up straight, which is basically a death sentence for him, especially with a Zero on him. However, I don't manage to get the kill on him. I don't know exactly what happened, either the guns didn't do damage or I didn't hit him with the 20mm at all. And then in comes a Mosquito. Now the Mosquito is definitely going to be a problem because the Mosquito is very, very fast. I put some shots into him, get some hits, but nothing critical, so he keeps on flying. And I am never going to go and outrun a Mosquito. However, I am close enough to the airfield that I think to myself, you know, I can just shoot a couple of rounds at him, wouldn't be too big of an issue. I do get some hits with the 20mm in the end. However, it doesn't seem to be doing that much damage again. Now, I put out my gear and deploy my flaps because I wanted to go and land and get some more ammo, but then the Mosquito turns back in, therefore basically forcing me to go ahead and engage him. Now I climb up after him with a relatively low speed, try and get some shots in on him, but I don't manage to hit, and he goes ahead and tries to strafe a Zero on the runway that has just taken off. However, the Zero does end up surviving, and the Mosquito actually crashes in the end. I guess he hits a tree, and because we hit him earlier, we got the kill for it. So that is going to be it for today, guys. As always, I do hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next one.